Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. We're going to go ahead and do an initial game review of Aphelium, which is a space-style game that is mostly on the Discord rather than a web-based game. So this is slightly different than what you'll normally see, but it is coming here as far as it's launching the beta here tomorrow, July 6th. By the time you're watching this, it could be after that, so the beta may already be available. But it is primarily Discord based, similar to Tag. There is some connection to a web base, as you can see right here, where you go ahead and stake your NFTs once you get them and things like that. But most of the gameplay itself is actually going to be in the Discord. Once that's available, I'm actually probably going to do a follow-up review on this, especially if there's a lot of people that are interested in seeing that. But the reason I wanted to get this out today is because there's a number of events that are coming up. First of all, what I mentioned on July 6th, they're going to go ahead and do the beta launch. And included in that, they're going to go ahead and do a full tournament with that has a lot of great prizes that I think everybody should be aware of. In addition to that, they're going ahead and doing a land drop also tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a very busy day for this one. So I wanted to go through at least the initial game review, what's going to be available coming up here tomorrow, some details around what could potentially be down the road, but just give you the information that you need to decide whether you want to or don't want to jump into the land sale tomorrow. Again, as I always say, this is not financial advice, so please make sure you do your own research and don't take it as financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor by any means, so do your own research, figure out what's right for you. Don't just take my word for it. Since I'm doing a video on it, I'm just a gamer. What do I know? All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this. This is the site. We'll go ahead and have a link to it down in the description below. We'll also have a link to the Discord, so you can go ahead and check that out, see the community. So far, they've been, I haven't been in the community long, but the few things I have said in it, I've gotten a lot of great responses from it. So it sounds like it's a very good community along with it. The game itself is here. I'm not going to scroll too far in, but as far as whitelist spots go, it does mention that you can go ahead and get your whitelist spot to have a chance at getting a free land, and we'll talk about all that here very soon. But I wanted to go ahead and dive through the white papers itself. You can go ahead and get to the white papers if you want to dive in a little more detail right here on the top. But just to give you a basic description, one of the things that they're priding themselves in is that it is a Discord game, which is going to be a lot different than a lot of the games that are on Wax right now. The only other notable Discord game that I can think of is Tag, the Adventures Guild, if you're not familiar with that one. But this one's going to be a little bit different. It sounds like, just from the description, that you can go ahead and initially you're just going to be playing it within their Discord, but there's potentials that it could connect to other Discords down the road. I'm curious to see how that's all going to work out. As far as being able to connect, one thing I did want to note, that they do have a test server available if you're watching this prior to July 6th. At the time of this recording, they actually have it down because they're doing an update on it, so I'm not able to show you that right now. But I encourage you to, if you're watching this before it actually goes live, I encourage you to go ahead and check out the testnet version of it, so you can go ahead and actually play it yourself. Like I said, if we get enough interest, I'll go ahead and do a follow-up video where I actually go through the gameplay itself. But I wanted to show you this as far as the development goes. We'll skip over that. The game itself is what I want to focus on. Like I said, there is going to be a land sale tomorrow on July 6th. Details in the Discord, and I'll show you some of those shortly. But there's 5 different rarities for each of the lands, commons all the way through legendaries. Obviously, legendaries being the tougher one, or the most rare one. The land's going to be a little bit different. They go out of their way to mention here that it's going to hover. It's going to be magnetically hovering. But what you're going to do with this land is it's used for harvesting. So you can go ahead, each land is going to have up to 3 different resources on the land, and they're going to be completely randomly generated as you're going through that, depending on the rarities and all that. And there's going to be a total of 11 different types of resources going over 3 different categories: food, material, and mineral. They're going to show you those here down a little bit further in the white paper. But you're going to have a chance, if you get one land, you'll have a chance of getting up to 3 different resources that you can mine on your land, or you can go ahead and mine it and, quote unquote, work on other people's lands, where you'll get the in-game token for working on their land, and they'll get the resources. So if someone comes in and they don't have land and they need to work on something, or they can go ahead and randomly be selected for your land, and you'll make the resources, or they'll work for the resources for you, and you'll just pay them in-game tokens. So that's some of the way the game works. As far as the land is generated, this is actually interesting because it's broken into two different parts. There's two different parts to the sale, and I'll actually jump over that here. There's going to be land that you can go ahead, and it's like a pack drop where you get a deed, and when you open that up, you get a randomly generated land, whether it's a common all the way through legendary. So that's what a majority of the stuff is going to come through. Is there's going to be 600 of those that are distributed. 100 is going to be free land to OG or early deed holders, and then there's going to be 500 that are available for $15, the equivalent of wax $15 worth, and you can see the split here as far as what the commons are going to be. In addition to that, they're actually selling specific rarity lands. You can actually, if you want, I only want an epic, and I specifically want an epic, you'll have a chance to go ahead and grab this. I'm sorry, this keeps popping up there. You'll have a chance to go ahead and grab just an epic or just a legendary, but you're going to pay for it too. So up here you pay 15 and you have a chance of getting epic and legendary for $15, or you can go straight up and buy the epic or legendary. Legendary, there's only 5 available in this way, but it costs $70 in wax. Epic's going to be 50, rare is going to be 25, 15 for the common. So if you don't like your chance at 60% commons here, you can go ahead and for the same price, you can grab an uncommon. Completely up to you, your decision, your strategy. But it just shows you that there's going to be 2 different types of sales to this, which I find interesting. You don't see that very often, other than if you buy it on the secondary market, obviously. But that's an interesting approach that they have going on there. So I wanted to mention that. Also, it sounds like there's going to be different generations of lands that are going to be dropping throughout the whatever time frame. And after each generation of land drops, there could be a completely different scarcity or scarce item depending on what's dropped during that time frame. It's all randomly generated. They did give an example here. For example, for the first generation, if 100 lands are dropped, 60 of them are wood, and then limonite is 40 of them. Obviously, I think I'm saying that limonite is the rare item. But if you go through a couple generations where they drop different portions of it, 50-50 for generation 2, and then 30-70, there's a chance that after the third generation that wood is now going to be scarce. And limonite is going to be limonite, correct me down in the description below or comments below. That'll be in excess. So what you get now could be scarce, but in a couple generations it may be abundant, and vice versa. So keep that in mind. It keeps it interesting. They do go through in the white paper the different 11 types of resources that are going through. Like I mentioned, there are food, mineral, and materials. Each of the items will can be used to create different items. If you scroll down, you see the different ones, like fish will be used, obviously fish, but we'll go down here a little bit further. Limonite, we talked about, that will be turned into iron. And that's the kind of resources that you're going to go through in your mining initially. And the mining is not the only thing that you're going to be doing in this game. I'm going to scroll down a little bit further because I wanted to show the flow of the game. Basically the flow actually kind of reminds me a little bit of Nova Pangea. Obviously there's some differences here, but you get a land, you extract the resources, you take those resources, you craft them, you use the crafting items to go ahead and build buildings. And then once you have the buildings, they can obviously do different things, and there's a whole plethora of things you can do with that. But as I mentioned earlier, there's going to be working involved where you can go ahead and work on other people's lands. They get the resources, you get some of the in-game token. And then there's sleep, obviously rest, sleep, food. That's going to go on. So there's a cycle that's going to go through. As you can see here, you go basically build through once you eat, and then you kind of go here and start working and building again. You can keep going through that cycle, and you want to build up your empire as much as possible. So that's the general gist of the actual gameplay itself. As I mentioned, for the land, they have the random land and the choose land. I went through all those details, and they do have some of the team listed. wanted to jump back to here again to remind you that the beta officially launches tomorrow. So if you go ahead and you grab land as part of that sale, you'll be able to go ahead and jump into the beta and start extracting resources. Down the road, there's going to be an update where buildings are going to start getting implemented, and things like that are going to start being brought into the game. And I'm assuming it's going to be a whole bunch of different types of buildings that kind of work with each other, and you continue to build out the game itself. It's 100% Discord, or it's mostly Discord based. So keep that in mind. What I also wanted to mention with the beta, there is going to be a tournament that is released tomorrow, which I do have the growing theme along with this game is they have some interesting ways of building up. Like I said, with the pack drops, it's the random land, and you can choose your destiny as far as the different rarities. As far as this tournament goes, they have a lot of prizes available. And normally what you see in tournaments is first place through 10th place, get the prizes. Everything below that gets nothing, or it could be first place through 20. So it all depends on the number. This one's going to be interesting. If you are not doing super well, you still have a chance to go ahead and win prizes. What they do is first through 10th place is going to win the rewards, but then they go by 10th. So 20th place, 30th place, 40th place, all the way up to 200th place has a chance to win it. So you could end up being 21st place, get nothing, or you can be 100th place and get something, or 101 and get nothing. So it's neat how they're going ahead and going through the process to actually reward all the way up to 200. So you always have a chance. You always have a reason to continue to go forward in this competition that they have coming up here. I think it's really neat. I'm curious to see how it all works out and see if people that are in the 150th place, if they're going to continue to push. In most cases, they would stop trying, except for Pride. But it's nice to see they're actually going through and able to do that. So I wanted to go ahead and put this out here. There is a land sale, like I said. I'm going to go ahead and probably grab a few lands. It's only 15 for a randomized land if you go ahead and grab it. Just to test my luck. Highly doubt I'll get the epics or rarities, because the drop rate for the higher rarities is a little low in my opinion. But I'm sure there's a reason for that, because they're only going to have a total of 8 legendaries out of all of the different things that are dropping. I believe there's 1,000 here if I'm doing my terrible mental math right. So eight out of 1,000 lands is super rare. So that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for those of you that actually go ahead and put the $70 up. It might actually be worth it if the game picks up. If there's only 8 legendary lands available, might be an option for you. That's totally up to you. It's up to your opinion. What are my thoughts of the game? I think it looks interesting. I'm a big fan. As I mentioned, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the play structure with Nova Pangea, obviously without the art style, but the gameplay cycle has some similarities, not 100%, but some similarities. So I like that part of it. I'm not the biggest fan of Discord games. I'm a visual person, so I like to actually see the visuals, but I am curious to see how it all plays together with the Discord itself. I did wish the testnet was available for me to do this video. It's partially my fault. I meant to do this video a couple days ago when it was available, so I'll take the blame on that one. But I am curious. I'm curious to see how this one's all going to play out. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it. Let me know down in the comments below. What are your thoughts? Is this something that you're going to go ahead and jump into and check out a little more detailed? Also, let me know, do you want me to go ahead and do a gameplay review of it once it launches and once it's available to go ahead and check it out? I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.